All right, folks, this is Sultan. England has now become Englandistan. Some of its cities have lost their cultural and historical identity, and that's why London is now called Londonistan, or Birmingham is now given a nickname Birmingham Sharif. The situation is so bad that our very own two-tier Kia, who bends over backwards for the main culprit community, even he was forced to say, now let me read, in a diverse nation like ours, we risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together. Sorry, I can hear his voice in my head, but it's so bad I just can't impersonate him. So when Keir Starmer is hinting at it, then it must mean that the situation is really, really bad. How bad, you may ask? Now, let me give you some numbers. Thanks to AI, we can now understand how bad everything is in the UK vis-a-vis this multiculturalism project. So I asked ChatGPT to do a deep dive in only 4 cultural markers, okay? Here we are. Ready? So female genital mutilation. So in the last 25 years, we've had 137,000 FGMs. Tens of thousands of UK-born girls who were taken abroad and their genitals were mutilated. Now, this is not an ordinary source. This is NHS and other reputable NGOs doing this research. Cousin marriages. Tens of thousands, between 40 to 60% within British, Pakistani, and some Middle Eastern communities. Public health, Bradford study. Honor killings, 300 victims, 300 British girls. Now, they're not white girls, okay? These are Muslim girls who were let down by the British political establishment in the name of what? Ooh. Cultural diversity, inclusion, tolerance. Oh, we don't want to look racist and Islamophobic. We're going to look the other way. Because, I'm sorry, I'm going to blame the British establishment because they had an opportunity to do something, but they didn't. They failed these 300 girls. I was looking in a detailed report. Let me show you that. Look at this. So 300 victims of honor killings. These incidents typically involve British-born young women or men of immigrant background who are murdered by family members for perceived transgressions, such as having a Christian boyfriend or a romantic interest. Maybe a Muslim of the wrong kind. 300 girls died, but the actual number is much bigger. 2,823 honor-based abuse incidents in 2010 alone across the UK. A figure which has since risen, though killings themselves are only a small extreme subset of those abuses. You know, just 300 girls. That means 12 to 15 per year. Killing estimate is widely cited by NGOs and authorities. Proportionally speaking, this is on par with Pakistan because Pakistan's population is 220 million Muslims. Britain's population is what, like 5-6 million Muslims? So this rate of honor killing is on par with countries like Pakistan. That's why it's not England, it's Englandistan. Okay, forced marriage. 100,000 plus cases reported where British Muslim girls were taken back to their ancestral countries and they were forced to marry older men, cousins, men they were not interested in seeing, or, you know, whatever. So that's how bad the numbers are, okay? But people tend to ignore the numbers for some reason. You know, these are big freaking numbers. 300 girls dead, 2,800 honor-based abuses in just the year 2010. 2,800, okay, could be 4,000, could be 1,000, who cares? Big numbers, but what does it actually look like? Let me show you a harrowing video that just came out of Birmingham Sharif, another strong hub of Muslims in our beloved Englandistan. So let me show you this harrowing video. There is no audio, so my interruptions or my commentary is not going to be annoying. Look at that. See? Focus on this white car. So this father and a brother is now trying to abduct a young 15-year-old girl. They're trying to drag her and put her in the car. And look at this guy. Look at this coward. I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm not saying you should risk your life. But there are some other racist white British ladies who are saying, what the hell are you doing? They have more courage And look at this man. Look at this champion. He would be called a racist white man only if he expressed some concerns about the ills that England has imported, like FGM, honor killings, cousin marriages, forced marriages. He would be called racist, but he's there. Look at him. He's trying to protect that girl. He successfully put the girl in, but some other people are now going to create a blockade. They're going to park their cars in front of it. Look at this woman. She's standing in front of the car. She's like, nope, I'm not going to let you go. Look at this guy. All you have to do is like appeal to a couple of other men and say, hey, guys, come on, let's go and let's stop this. It's not that difficult. Anyway, so this guy opens the car's door, and I think the girl is just going to jump out. Yeah, there you go. Now she's going to just run. There you go. She runs off. It's this girl. Look, she's obviously wearing Western clothes. So this Muslim brother and father are obviously not happy with her for being westernized. Look at this clown. Look at this shameless brother. He's also wearing Western clothes. So they probably were trying to abduct her, force her to marry one of her cousins in Pakistan and import them there. Luckily, she escaped. And luckily, the Muslim father and son who were trying to abduct this girl in Birmingham, they've been arrested and charged. Muhammad Ali, age 49, and his son Luqman Ali, 20, attempted to bundle the teen into a vehicle in central Birmingham. That's what it looks like, guys. That's what it looks like. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think I need to keep saying it over and over again. We need to remove emotion from this, okay? You can't really be angry with these people. They're behaving like they're programmed. Human beings are programmed to follow their cultural values. Our behaviors are shaped by our cultural upbringings. These statistics that I showed you, FGM, forced marriages, cousin marriages, honor killings, etc., these are exclusive to Muslims' cultural practices, their religious practices. You're not going to change them overnight. It's for Muslims to curb. It's for Pakistan, Afghanistan, for those countries to tackle. The West doesn't have to import these problems. We don't have to cover for them. We don't have to make excuses for them. But the problem is still a bit much more nuanced. What do we do with these girls? This Muslim girl, she doesn't want to be a part of that culture. She's westernized. She probably sees herself as a British girl. And that's where the conundrum lies. What do we do with them? Because when we talk about Muslims behaving badly, we know there are so many other Muslims who need our help. I say that you should become an ex-Muslim, come out, and you will be embraced by the whole world, like I have been. She's just a child. She's only 15. She doesn't know what Islam is. She went to a school. She probably met someone. I don't know. Maybe it might not even be that. It could be as simple as her wearing Western clothes, wearing revealing clothes where her cleavage is visible. And that's making little Abdul a bit too excited. Could be that. Could be as simple as that, I'm telling you. We need to have an honest conversation. The more Muslims you bring in, the more FGMs, the more honor killings, the more forced marriages, the more cousin marriages you're going to have. And that's just one element of it. On the other hand, they try to gaslight you. They say that, oh, while we are bringing in our primitive, barbaric, medieval practices into your once enlightened society, on top of that, we're actually going to shame you for your identity, for your history, for your cultural practices. Now, I'm not saying Western culture is perfect. Yeah, an average Westerner wants to watch a game of football, go to a pub with his mates, have a few beers, go home. You know, there's some abusive people there too. That's a Western exclusive problem, okay? Muslims love to tell us that, oh, that's why Allah banned alcohol, because when men drink alcohol, they become abusive. Be that as it may, Muslim men don't need alcohol to be abusive. They just need the Quran. As chapter 4, verse 34 says, you can discipline your wife. What that guy was doing, Islamically, he was doing perfectly right, both the father and the son. It is up to them to guard the chastity and the honor of the family. In their view, she's bringing dishonor to the family. So it's fair game. Sorry, I was talking about them gaslighting you. How are they gaslighting you? Look at this guy. Look at this useful idiot. For once, he's an Indian. Indian wokes are just as bad as white wokes. Probably a degree worse than white wokes, because white wokes can be excused because they haven't lived side by side Muslims for hundreds of years, but Indians have. So they should know very well what kind of a danger Islam poses to their existence. So have a look at this guy. What a world-class idiot this guy is. And he's a Labour MP, Jeevan Sundar. He's saying that when you put up the Union Jack, it makes the migrant community a little uneasy. Let's have a listen, and I won't interrupt.
And then I see flags painted on roundabouts, and that is just a bit... And you know, because you've seen it online, and I see it in my inbox, that this does make people feel uneasy. And they ask, what message are these flags supposed to be sending? Now look, I'll take people at their words. People who say this is about national pride. I'm proud of my country too, and I'm proud of our flag. But I do understand why others feel that it's about excluding people. Why others feel that it's about saying who belongs here and who doesn't. We're one British people. We're proud of our country. We should be standing together underneath our flag, not some of us looking up with unease. That's not the British way. Standing together, not standing apart. That's what being British is about. Unity, decency, determination, having a pint, a cup of tea, supporting the English football team, and sometimes they win. That's what being British is about. And that's why today I'll be asking the Reform County Council to take down the flags on the lampposts.
There's a really funny meme. Yeah, this one. Allow me to explain your country's identity to you and how it includes me. This was such a bad message from Jeevan Sundar. You are welcome to stand underneath that flag. What do you want the Brits to do, to get rid of the flags? What does it mean? Who is saying that this is only for white people? Who is saying that? It's you who wants to separate yourself from the British identity. Or the people who are feeling uneasy. They're the ones. You know what? Fuck it. Again, as I said, you don't need to explain anything to these fuckers. Makes my blood boil. I wasn't a nationalist kind of person. You know, like I was a very globalist person. Like I really was. I was like, the whole world is my world. You know, like I can go anywhere I want. I can live anywhere I want. But no, our world is very fragmented. It has a lot of distinct groups who have different cultural values. They think differently. And they will kill you for those differences. So we have to protect our own countries. You have to be a nationalist. I used to think that, you know, nationalism is a bit primitive and tribalistic. No. I think being a nationalist is probably the single most needed trait at the moment. You have to be a nationalist, whether you're an American, Canadian, or actually, let me show you another video. This time it just came out of Canada. Come on, guys, seriously. Wake the f up. They have no shame. They want you to take down your flags because they feel uneasy, but at the same time, they keep gaslighting you. Listen to this, father.
Imagine receiving an email from your kid's school teacher asking you not to pack pork in their lunches anymore because it has become offensive to some of the children who are in the class. Some parents are writing emails to the teachers saying that there are Canadian kids showing up with bacon and ham in their sandwiches, and that's offensive to their religion. Just imagine that for a second. It's a school, not a refugee camp. There's an airplane.
Remigration is the only solution. They will not stop. They will not stop. You have bent over backwards. Every single Western country has bent over backwards for these people. Have they stopped? No, they haven't. They've been crying for a ceasefire for 2 years. Now they've been given a ceasefire and they're still not happy. They will never be happy. No matter how much you bend over backwards, you'll break your freaking spine and they still would not be happy. Make a fucking stand. I'm telling you, you need to make a stand. I come from a Muslim background. I am telling you, they don't deserve any more concessions. This is your country. This is your identity. Stand up. Defend it vigorously. Otherwise, you'll have to defend it violently at some stage. Hopefully it doesn't get to that stage. If you just change the culture right now, tell them, nope, these things are non-negotiable. In our countries, we like to drink, we like to eat bacon, and we like to do things our way. If you don't like it, there is that big fat door that you can go through and don't turn around. Off you go. And do it now while you can sell your property and get some money for it. Because the way things are going, when mass deportations begin, the property prices will fall because everyone would be trying to sell it. You might not even get a good bang for your buck. We have to change the culture. And I'm telling you, things will change. Very quickly, things will change. We just need 10, 15 years of good, solid, unapologetic, right-wing, successive conservative governments. That's all we need. And this is the reason why mainstream political parties are getting destroyed everywhere in the world. And in Australia, we've got this Australian Labor Party and Australian Liberals Party. The Liberals are supposedly our Tories, and they're just as pathetic as the Tories. That's the status quo in Australia. And that creates an illusion for these mainstream political parties that, oh, we're safe. No, you're not safe. We're going to have another third party that's going to be a real conservative party, kind of like Reform or maybe Advanced UK. I like Advanced UK a bit more. So Australia is ripe for the taking. I don't know much about Canada. I think Canada probably is going to have another third force as well. Watch out for that. Because when that happens, all this bullshit is going to go away. And as I said, we don't need, oh, we've got a lawnmower here. I didn't know that. Oh, sorry. I just thought of one more video. I think it's important for me to show you this video. Look what happened in the US. My dear Brits, learn something from your American counterparts. Have a look at this. They need this. They do this every day. They do this everywhere in Britain. Brits have to grow a spine. So a large group of Muslims were holding a very public prayer in Dallas, Texas. And a Christian man boldly went to hold his own prayer to protest against the Islamic takeover of America. Asses up in the air. They do this. They're doing it in a park. Probably not obstructing anyone. Probably they're not as bad as their British counterparts or their French counterparts. But we know this is how it always starts. So I'm not going to feel sorry for these people. I'm sorry. We've seen it. We've seen how it starts.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from Islam. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Okay, let me give you a disclaimer. I am a devout atheist. I used to be a militant atheist. I still am an atheist. I don't believe in any supernatural force. But my dear Christians, my dear American Christians, well done. This is what you need to do. Because when Christians turn the other cheek to Muslims, they're not melted by your kindness. They say, oh, look at this idiot. Let's grab him. Let's subjugate them. Let's make them pay jizya, as Quran chapter 9, verse 29 says. Humble them. So my dear British Christians, because British atheists are a bunch of losers. Most of them are wokes anyway. My own atheistic community, which I divorced a long time ago because they're so useless. As I said, most atheists are wokes. And they have a dhimmi fetish. They want to be subjugated. They have this obsession with these Islamists. And those of you who might be saying, oh, look at these Muslims, they're not doing anything, they're not harming anything. Let me show you some videos what Muslims do. Whenever you give them an inch, they literally take a mile. This is what they do. Everywhere. It's a show of force. They do that everywhere. And look at this, mashallah. They're proud of that. They use that as advertisement to other Muslims in Muslim countries. Look, we've taken them. Look, we're taking over. That's what they do. I can show you plenty more of these videos. They obstruct streets. They become nuisance. They become aggressive. This is Paris. This is Paris. Look at this. So, yeah. There's plenty more. Let me show you some more. This is Westminster Abbey. Westminster Abbey on purpose. Why Westminster Abbey? You know why? They always pick landmarks to rub it in your faces that, our religion, we are here to take over. Look at this in front of Westminster Abbey. These are provocations. They do that on purpose. So don't feel bad for those people who are praying in some random park. That's how they always start. They always start that way. But it never ends that way. So please, Christians all over the world, secularists and atheists, they're a lost cause. Christians, it's down to you. And I think I've heard Christianity is reviving, and I don't blame them. Well done. I mean, these countries, I am in favor of secularism. I do think that the reason behind the greatness of the West is secularism, but I do not ignore or disrespect the role Christianity played. Christians and probably Hindus, these two are the only religions who have allowed secularism to flourish. They have given up power to make a more equitable, a more just society. You did that, Christianity and Hinduism too. India is the only Hindu country in the world with Nepal, and India is a secular country. And look, even India is being abused by one community because, as I said, you can't really blame these people. They are behaving as they are programmed to behave. Islam wants them to behave in this manner. Be aggressive, go out there, try to conquer new lands. It's called Darul Harb, you know. The West is a big Darul Harb for Muslims, meaning it has to be subjugated, it has to be conquered. They're behaving like that. So, my dear Christians, it's down to you. Preserve your cultural, historical identity. Make sure that your country doesn't fall to these medieval barbarians. And I have the same advice for Indians as well. India can only remain secular as long as we have Hindu majority. 80% of India is Hindu. Only 13% of India is actually Muslim. But look how much crap happens over there. But the tide is turning, okay? I'm hopeful. I don't think we're going to lose these beautiful countries to Islam. It would be the greatest catastrophe in human civilization.